Hey guys, Boost King Matt here. We are going to be installing some big turbos on my 2022 F-150 3.5 liter. Let's open this box from CR Performance. This video would not be possible without the help of CR Performance. So I just wanted to say thank you to them. Thank you, Andrew. Really appreciate your help. And I look forward to working with you in the future. All right, guys, what do we have here? Look at that, guys. We got a nice CR Performance hat. We've got a bunch of stickers, some cool stuff in here. Awesome. Let's see what these look like. Oh, wow. We've got a bunch of CR Performance stickers. Look at all these, guys. These ones are just really cool. But it looks like he sent me a bunch of sets of stickers. Andrew's a really awesome guy, and I highly recommend getting parts from CR Performance for your truck. Looks like we got some little screws here. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, looks like we got one of the heat shields right here. Set that aside. This looks like the other heat shield. Yep, here's the other one. They do a really good job packing these boxes so that the turbos do not get damaged. Okay, here's one of them. I'm gonna go ahead and set him down here on the concrete. Perfect. Guys, got my CR Performance hat on here, but I want to give you kind of a brief overview of these turbos really quick before we jump into the install. All right, so CR Performance, they do an absolutely stunning job with cleaning up a used set of turbos. As you guys know, I sent these turbos used into CR Performance, and they cleaned them up and did the stage 4 upgrade on them for me. Now let's take a look at what we have here. Now if we get right to the obvious thing, look at how big that compressor wheel is, and you can see a nice beautiful CR stamp on there on the compressor blade. Looks amazing. As you can see, they kind of largen out the inside, and the inlet is pretty much the same as stock. It's got a little material taken out of it. And we know that on these stage 4 turbos, the inducer is 46 millimeter and the exducer is 56 millimeter. Now if we take a look at these cores, as you can see, absolutely gorgeous, looks brand new, and they did not replace these cores. These are the cores that were on there. So very nicely cleaned up. As you can see, they cleaned up the locations for the bolts really well. And this surface is extremely nice. And everything inside there is gorgeous. And as you can see, there's that 8-blade 45 millimeter MAR turbine. So these are going to be able to push a lot of power, even though I'm not going to be pushing them that far. Let's take a look at this one. Same thing, there's that gorgeous 46 millimeter compressor wheel. Their cleanup process is literally down to a science. Absolutely gorgeous. And on this one, we can take a better look at that 45 millimeter 8-blade turbine. As you can see, a lot of space between the blades, allowing a lot of exhaust flow to come through, which will greatly help with making power at the high elevation that I live at here in Colorado. So now that we've taken a brief look at these, we're going to set these aside and pull the truck in here to the garage. So as many of you guys know, this is my 2022 3.5 liter F-150 Ecoboost, and it has the stock turbos, of course. But we do have a CVF high mount intercooler right behind there. We also have a JLT intake. We have prototype CVF turbo inlet tubes on here, and then we also have a TurboSmart blow-off valve. So we're also tuned on 91 octane fuel with my trusty SCT tuner right here. But we're gonna go ahead and pull this sucker into the garage because it's raining. And as you can hear, it's threatening to rain more. So just another monsoon day in Colorado. All right, so now that you have the wheel well out of the way, you can get in here to the turbo and you can reach this bolt from right here, but it's actually gonna be easier to reach from underneath. So you're gonna have to take off the little shielding piece that's underneath the truck so you can get to the downpipe. And what we're gonna do is take the bolts off on both sides, and then we're gonna slide the downpipe back. We're gonna drop this little donut ring out of here, and then we'll be able to start unbolting these three, which I just put some penetrating oil on. And then we are going to take the oil feed and the drain line off of the turbo. This is the feed line. The drain line is that little flexi line there that goes up to the bottom of the turbo. And then we'll be able to kind of pull the turbo off a little bit, and then we'll disconnect the coolant side of things. But we're probably gonna have to drain the coolant reservoir because there's a lot of coolant in the upper end of the engine. So we'll have to dump all that out into a bucket or something. All right, guys, so there you go. I unbolted both sides, and I was able to get the bolts off without any trouble. I just slid this little flange back, and then you just turn yourself around and you kick on that crossover pipe on the downpipe, and you push it back that way, and it loosens up from the turbo and gives you about that much space there to deal with. And that allows you to pull the turbo out without any of this junk in the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking the oil lines off and start working on the coolant. Hopefully that goes well. All right, guys, so we got the coolant drained, and it's an absolute pain. But if you look over there, you see a little tube right there at the end of my finger, and that pulls off of the coolant line, which is right here, and you can actually drain it out. I just use this little hose to just go up to it and bring it out here so I could dump it right into a bucket. So we got that, and then we started draining it out of that connection right here and there, and it just kind of drains out and makes a huge mess, as you can see. But now that we have this side done, the other side won't be as hard. But the turbo's about to come out now. I just disconnected the wastegate actuator wire, and we're gonna pull this thing out of here. All right, there's what we have going on there. Got the downpipe and the exhaust manifold and the oil lines here. There's that coolant line right there. There's the other one right there. So we got the turbo out. Here it is. Let's go over here and compare it to the upgraded one. All right, so this is one of the coolant lines that goes into the turbo right here. I'm getting this one ready to be put in the new turbo, and I've got a new seal from Ford. Make sure you get new seals for everything. And I also put a new gasket right there with the pink paint on it. It just comes in a little package just like that. You're gonna stick that in there. But you're gonna get this little seal on here. Just like that. So I just took the old one off the other line, As you can see, it's blue on this side, and you flip it over and it's black. So you can tell that it's kind of starting to wear out. So it's a good thing we're replacing the seals. All right, guys, we got the turbo back in here. Got these bolts in, went in pretty easily. Everything's back together. Probably the biggest pain are these little coolant slip joints, and getting the one that's back behind there on there, kind of a pain. But otherwise, got the passenger side on. We just got to get the driver's side, but we're gonna hit that tomorrow. All right, guys, so we reached the stopping point tonight. It's getting late, but I did get that turbo completely in there. It's all ready to go. Everything's hooked back up. Turbo inlet tube, hot side, and the exhaust will have to be hooked up once I get the other side on the truck, the other turbo on the truck. But if we come over here, got the wheel well liner out, moved this orange cable out of the way, and I started taking the oil line off there, as you can see, and I sprayed some penetrating oil on those bolts, and got everything else disconnected off the turbo, except for the coolant lines. But as you know, it's just those slip joints. So we'll get this turbo out tomorrow, get it slapped in there, and fire this thing up, see what she sounds like.
All right, guys, it is the next morning, and we are back to work on the truck here, and we're gonna get the driver's side turbo in and get this thing started up, because I am dying to hear what these turbos are gonna sound like. So let's get to it.
All right, guys, so this one was a little bit harder to get out. I had to really turn it and spin it and get it positioned just right to get it out of there. But it's right here, and we're gonna go ahead and swap over these lines over to here, and we're gonna go ahead and get the shield on, the heat shield, and the seals and everything. So I wanted to compare stock to the Stage 4 because you guys weren't able to see it yesterday because I was too busy trying to get the turbo in, but there's stock, and there's the Stage 4. As you can see, a pretty large difference in compressor size. Here's the Stage 4 turbo. We got everything on. We got the heat shield on, we got the coolant lines on here, and I got the gasket in here, and also the donut gaskets pushed on the back. And we should be ready to start weaseling this thing in there. I also got some new seals. This turbo's in. I just torqued the bolts into the manifold. Everything else is good. I will say it's a lot easier to take that coolant line off right there, disconnect it from the block and take it out with the turbo, as opposed to leaving it off, or as opposed to sliding the slip joint out and then leaving that part in the block. It makes it a lot easier getting the turbo out. But everything else just looks good here, and we're about to hook up the exhaust, and I'm gonna put the tire back on real quick. Lower the truck down so that's not up on the jacks anymore. Also, I've got 4 brand new Ford, I think they're called catalytic converter nuts. So I've got 4 of those, 2 for each turbo. And you're gonna want like a couple long extensions, a little swivel, and 15mm socket, deep and non-deep. All right, so you want your setup kind of like this. You're gonna get up on there on that nut, and you're gonna have your setup come down here with your wrench, and you're gonna do that for both sides. It's pretty easy. All right, so we got the exhaust all hooked back up. Everything's good there. Now I'm going to add a bunch of coolant to the truck because we lost a bunch. All right, guys, we are going to hook the battery back up.
So as you guys may not know, the wastegate actuators, they move back and forth, and that's that little sound. So if I open the door, so I'm gonna have to push my foot on the brake because I have a push button start truck. So push my foot on the brake, push my foot on the gas all the way to the floor. There we go. What we got going for coolant? Okay, so the coolant went down just a little bit. All right, let's do that test one more time. Foot on the brake, foot all the way on the gas, push the start button. See if the coolant's moved at all. And it has not, so that's good. All right, guys, so I just had a leak, and it was right on that tube. You can't really see it, but it's just underneath the turbo inlet. And it basically where the coolant line goes into the block, into the engine block. It wasn't like quite all the way in, and I had tightened down the screw while it was kind of sideways. So it was like just kind of jammed in there. So I had to loosen the screw, tap it in with a screwdriver, then tighten the screw back up, and the leak stopped. So I need to put the turbo inlet tube back on because I had to move it out of the way. And then we'll finally probably do one more flood, and then we'll start the thing. All right, I'm doing my last one here. Okay, turn it off, check. All right, let's go ahead and start it. I don't think there's any leaks. From what I've seen, looks pretty good. We're definitely burning off a little bit of smoke from the turbos. It's some little packing oil and stuff. All right, so it's running. We're gonna let it idle for a couple minutes and put on my CR Performance hat. Let it run for like 3 minutes. And then, I do need to check the coolant real quick. Let's see what that's doing. It looks good. I'm gonna put the cap on it. I'm probably gonna flash the stock tune on it because I don't want to put this fast tune I don't know what it's gonna run on these turbos, so I'm just gonna kind of work up to it. Wow, those are loud, just idling. All right, guys, so we're about to back the truck out of here, and I just switched over to the stock tune. If you guys are wondering and asking yourself the question, can you run big turbos on the stock tune? The answer to that is yes, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But one last thing we got to do, we got to put a CR Performance sticker on the back of the truck because one of these stickers adds about 25 horsepower. Oh, guys, I had that sticker, and I actually I like this sticker better because it actually shows the whole name. So I put that one on there instead. Looks really good. Let's pull the truck out of the garage here. All right, guys, we're just going for a little drive here, just around my subdivision, just to kind of test out the turbos a little bit on the stock tune. There was a couple things. It said service advanced track, and then it said the front camera view thing was off, or collision assist, whatever that was. All that stuff has now turned off, and it's back to completely normal. There's no codes or anything. So I think we're good to go. I'm just waiting for OAR, octane adjust ratio, to adjust before I give it any gas really. But these turbos sound absolutely wild. Pretty wild. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. If you want to see more updates on the turbos, stay tuned because there will be some more update videos coming very soon on how they're doing and how the truck is performing. So keep your eyes out open for that. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.